Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a financial and investment hypnosis session. And I was working with a client that was fairly savvy when it came to assets and income streams. They had a source of income through an Airbnb property that was cash flow positive. They had digital assets that had the ability to dramatically increase in value. So they weren't naive by any stretch of the imagination, but they had a tendency, as many people do, as to have this kind of easy come, easy go mentality, that because it can be easy for some people to make lots of money, there's this belief system of, well, of course I can spend it because I can always make more. And that could be perceived as a very empowering belief system because it shows confidence and trust in their ability to be resourceful enough to make more. And yet that can also cause issues because if, let's say, that you treat your financial savings or investments as a form of security, if that security is almost non-existent because you just trust that you can make more, then actually your fortress doesn't have very strong walls or your mattress is very thin. And therefore, it can actually lead to a lot of stress and worry. So this is really a session about financial resilience, but also financial discipline of doing the kind of things that build on that belief system of abundance and resourcefulness, but make it more empowering. And, you know, some of you might be aware I created a course last year called Hypnotic Wealth. The first few modules of that course are available completely free. Just check out my website, adamcox.co.uk, and you'll see at the top of the page, Hypnotic Wealth. There's a link there. But in essence, I've been fascinated by the role that the unconscious mind has in either making wealth effortless or almost impossible. And obviously they're at opposite ends of a very, very big spectrum. For me, I also have this belief system that there is infinite opportunities in the world, there is infinite abundance, but I frame that in a way that leads to even more financial discipline. So I pay my credit card off every month, if that makes sense. So I make most of my purchases on credit card, but then automatically the default is to pay them off. I try and max out. In the UK, we have things like SIPs for pensions and ISAs for savings, tax-free vehicles. The government have a max limit that you can utilize, which is tax efficient. So I aim to max that out every single year. And in doing so, what it means is that by paying off all of my credit card debt and maxing out the investment limits, it actually means that temporarily my quality of life, my lifestyle, isn't as good as it could be as if I deployed that same money to just live life to the full. But in doing so, what it does is it gives me the ability to constantly increase my ability to acquire more assets, particularly the kind of assets that could lead to growth. Here in this hypnosis session, you're going to hear an analogy of streams and reservoirs. And I think this analogy is quite apt because that's kind of how money works. Money flows. They even use liquidity as the term to talk about money supply. So liquidity and the flow of money, I think, is a helpful way of doing it. And there are many people where they have no reservoir at all. They have one income stream, which is their job, And of course, they're financially stressed, because if that job ends, particularly unexpectedly, then how are they going to cover their costs? And that would be the pipe that leaves the reservoir or a pond if it's not, very deep. These things are going out all the time anyway. So I believe that why not have multiple streams flowing into an ever-increasing reservoir, or maybe multiple reservoirs, so that you're always going to be secure, your quality of life is always increasing, and you've got the ability to pursue, complete freedom and whatever that means to you. So there's two things really to kind of sow a seed for. If you're interested in the idea of hypnotic wealth, check out my website, adamcox.co.uk. I'm also going to click a link in the show notes. And if you feel that financial hypnosis could be useful for you, this is one of my big passions. I was very lucky enough to be financially free at fairly young in life. So this hypnosis that you hear me do, I don't need to do it to pay the bills. I do it because it's a genuine passion of mine. And I think when you do something because you choose to do it, you have a different energy than if you have to do it. So I love hypnosis. I'll always do hypnosis, but I don't need to do it to make money, if that makes sense. So if you are interested in a hypnosis session that was linked to beliefs about money or investing or financial freedom, again, there'll be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a completely free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm relaxation. And as you exhale, feel a sense of release, as signs of tension, stress, or worries start to feel like they're leaving your body in that outward breath. And when you breathe in, don't be surprised if you breathe in deeper than you normally do, feeling your diaphragm and the lungs lower down start to expand, and that when you exhale, that outward breath becomes longer and more deliberate, giving you a wonderful feeling that the deeper you breathe, the deeper relaxed you're becoming. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And you can think of your imagination as the user interface to your unconscious mind. And you know that to be true because some of your very best ideas came from your unconscious in a moment of a relaxed daydream where your mind was wandering and suddenly a solution to a problem appeared, an idea, a strategy, a new way of thinking magically appeared from nowhere. So as your body relaxes even more, feel the awakening of the rawest power of your imagination. And imagine a luxury compound in the middle of nature. See this compound with solar panels. See it with large, strong walls. This is a magnificent compound, part fortress, part mansion. And imagine it close to a reservoir. Imagine you have everything you would need here in this place. Running water, fresh water, sunlight, and the security of a roof over your head. And I want you to imagine a garden connected to this compound. And just imagine perhaps something relaxing, maybe a hammock, a sun lounger, or even a cabana. And just imagine resting on that place of relaxation, knowing that you are safe and secure, but with the perfect view not just of a reservoir, but of multiple streams flowing into that reservoir. I want you to get a sense that you see that this reservoir is just a tiny percentage full of its full capacity. Imagine that there is at least sufficient room in this reservoir for 100 times the amount of fresh water there in the reservoir. And you can see that liquid from the streams trickling in to that ever-growing reservoir. But you can see that there are pipes attached to the reservoir, extracting that liquid and taking it away. And just imagine that you know that each pipe represents a different expenditure. Some are necessary, some less so. Just imagine that interest on debt is at least one of these pipes, draining liquid from your reservoir. Maybe the size of the pipe denotes the amount of interest. And it occurs to you that it makes sense to take on debt if that debt would lead to more streams flowing into this reservoir. But sometimes you can incur a debt that provides no stream and just takes money away from the liquid that has accumulated up to this point. Breathe in and breathe out, feeling so relaxed as you stare into the ever-growing reservoir. And you can see maybe one main stream, maybe two or three, but you get a deep sense that this reservoir has no limit to the amount of streams that are flowing into it. And you can imagine a future where this reservoir is like a great lake, going far beyond what you can physically see. I want you to imagine a reservoir so big it almost doesn't matter how many pipes come from the reservoir, because the streams would always ensure the reservoir is full and ever growing. And I want you to consider that future as perhaps a desirable part of your future. A future where there is so much that you never have to worry about a financial decision ever again. To be frivolous when the reservoir is empty is reckless. To be frivolous when the reservoir is overflowing is common sense. What is right in one context can be foolish in another. And maybe right now, the goal is to have less pipes coming from the reservoir and more streams flowing into it. And maybe each stream represents a different source of income or a different category of income. One stream could be property. Another stream could be income flowing from a business. Another could be staking rewards or interest on assets already held. And something else might be people paying for your time and expertise. As you start to see more and more of these streams, starting off small, but increasing their size and velocity. And the more you stare at these streams flowing into the reservoir, the more relaxed you become. Because you only need perhaps one or two streams to give you infinite security. And maybe when the reservoir is beyond a certain level, that represents passing a threshold of minimum security. The point at which you can then prioritize getting to a level where you never have to worry about living a comfortable life. And once you have the streams that meet that criteria, it enables you to take more risks, knowing that you will always be secure and always be comfortable. And you could imagine a future of freedom, perhaps even luxury. A future where you live life on your terms, doing what you want, when you want, as much as you want. Because your decisions now and in the near future will take you to a future of infinite abundance. So imagine those streams of income flowing effortlessly into your life. Maybe flowing into a reservoir, or maybe filling up various pools of investments like properties, stocks, maybe crypto or businesses. And imagine your assets growing steadily, each stream contributing to a larger, more secure financial reservoir. As you feel a powerful motivation to maximize profit from your existing income streams. Maybe there is a dam that is impeding the flow of income from one of your streams, and just imagine releasing that dam and immediately seeing more flow flowing down that pre-existing stream, knowing that this will help you to either pay off debts or accumulate even more valuable assets. Think of your future as your destination, and And you are already developing a strategic plan that takes you to a future of security, a quality of life you desire, and beyond that, ultimate freedom. Imagine drifting off into the future as you see your strategy yielding measurable returns, increasing your comfort with taking calculated, discerning risks. And notice where is that deep desire to pay off high-interest credit card debt, knowing that in doing so, you're building a strong foundation of financial discipline for now and in the future. And imagine each debt payment as turning a tap off that pipe that is draining liquid from your reservoir, allowing you to accumulate more wealth as you keep more of what is already yours. And maybe you can imagine that a single reservoir becomes so big that it ends up being multiple reservoirs. That even if there is a temporary drought and one reservoir runs dry, there will be so many other reservoirs that it doesn't affect your life at all. While there are droughts in one part of the world, there are thunderstorms and excess rain in the others. As you feel the desire to diversify your investments, with each asset category becoming its own reservoir, adding to your overall financial stability. Feel the excitement of watching your investments grow, each one contributing to your long-term financial security. But the nature of having an ever-growing list of assets is they don't all have to do well. Any one asset goes through difficult times makes no difference, as the majority continue to grow, giving you the magical power of compounding working for you rather than against you. Feel the empowerment of financial discipline, knowing that every smart decision you make strengthens your financial foundation and increasing the speed at which your reservoir starts to fill. As you lie there in your compound looking out over reservoirs and streams, imagine yourself in the future, enjoying not just a comfortable quality of life, but a life perhaps of luxury or freedom, made possible by decisions that took place many years before. As you feel a growing motivation to seek out new investment opportunities, figuring out which gives you the highest returns, each one enhancing your financial portfolio, each one enhancing the peace of mind that comes from knowing that your strategy provides both security and an immense potential for growth. And every time you discover a new stream of income, it activates excitement and empowerment. each new stream giving you the ability to go one step closer to that financial future you desire. All of these pools and streams and reservoirs become a thriving ecosystem. If one reservoir runs dry, it could be topped up by streams coming in from different sources. Each part, each stream, each pool, each pond, each reservoir working together to ensure your financial well-being as you imagine the freedom that comes from a secure and well-planned strategy that allows you to live the life that you desire and beyond. Imagine drifting into that future, experiencing it. 10, 20, 30 years in the future, feel that you are filled with vitality, vibrancy, enthusiasm, and that all of this empowerment that has flowed towards you gives you the resources to meet your values and live life on your terms. Find yourself floating back into that hammock, that lounger, that cabana, and imagine walking into the compound. Imagine perhaps a home of the future and see the rooms, the art, the decor. See a future that activates enthusiasm, discipline, and optimism. And then imagine returning to the present moment as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connecting fully with the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.